All right, we are back. Mark Conley, Dale Pieper. We're talking about how to get to $1 million, or if you already got it, how you want to keep it. So first, we're just talking mainly about envisioning retirement, the things you'd like to do, the work you'd like to do for charities, organizations, church, things you do for family, and yeah, of course, the cool stuff too, playing golf and hunting. I'm sure Dale has hunting on his...
Right. Or you always got the little pictures of the retired couple on the beach.
Yes.
The infinity pool or so.
Right.
I mean, I'm down with that too.
Excellent. So, when we look at the data that's out there, experts, this is according to the Department of Labor, they say that about 70% of your pre-retirement income is what you need to maintain your standard of living. Whether that is true or not is we've found is very specific to each person's cash flow needs, lifestyle needs, how much of a saver that they were prior to retirement. There's so much more that goes into that.
I think it goes into all those things you were just talking about. Think about the retirement you want to have, because if you want to continue the same lifestyle you were having while you were working, well, you don't want to live off of 70% of your income. You want to have 100% of it, right? So those are the things to think about. But if you can live off less, how many times have we met with a retiree and they're like, oh, my mortgage will be paid off and this will be gone, so I don't need this much. So, yes, it can be rationalized, but.
Well, and there's something else I'll bring up about retirement. Well, okay, forget retirement. Hold on, let me take you back. So right now, if you're not retired and you're listening to the show, think about what day of the week do you spend the most money, or what days? It's what? Saturday and Sunday. Well, now let's think about it. If you're retired, every day is a Saturday and a Sunday. So you might want to think about putting a plan together to make sure you're going to have the kind of cash flow you need. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting at home going, I'm bored.
Yeah, way back in the day, it used to be Thursday I spent the most money because it was ladies' night.
It is ladies' night, and it feels so right.
But that was another life.
All right.
But now it's Saturday and Sunday. Taking the kids out to Minchie's.
There you go. Minchie's rocks. One of our kids' favorites. All right. So here's the deal. Fewer than half of Americans, I'm looking at the U.S. Department of Labor, have actually calculated how much they even need to save for retirement. So there's problem number one. And solution number one. You need to put together a financial plan. You need to hire a professional to put together a financial plan. Because if I look at the average American, that's 20 years in retirement. And if you have a long life, it could be much longer than that. If the life expectancy currently for someone retiring at age 65, if they're married, it's like 27 years. So it's going to be a long time. And there's also, we've got like 1 in 5 Americans out there think they're going to retire before age 65. So how do you think you're going to get there? There's Social Security is not going to be something you can depend on to be all of it. So you're going to have to actually put this to, a good plan together. We've got to factor in, what about healthcare costs? That gets expensive. If we look at the average lifetime healthcare expenditures, according to the Health Research and Education Trust, men, it's about $268,000, and women, it's $361,000. See, women do cost more. Uh-oh. Here come the emails. We're in trouble.
You can email Mark.
Yeah. And here's his personal number. So how are you going to retire comfortably? You start thinking about all that, and that can be scary, especially if a lot of people know that you're not doing enough and that you do need a plan and you need to quit sticking your head in the sand.
Which is why most people don't run the calculator to see what they need to do for retirement, because they're scared of what the number's going to be.
Right. They know the answer is going to say you have a weak sauce plan and you have to save more, which means
I got to cut something out.
You got to make changes.
Yep.
Nobody wants to do that.
No.
but it is important to do it. We understand how you feel. Now, one of the cool things about the planning systems that we use, because we don't just look at investment portfolios, and I talked about this on the show, the 3 types of money. Remember, you've got the accumulated money, and yes, you do need to talk about how to accumulate money and how to get the best rate of return for the risk level that you're comfortable with. Yes, that is extremely important. We'll touch on that here today. But we also look at money that's being transferred out of your financial plan that you don't even realize you're losing, that if we can recoup that money, a lot of things that we do at Wealth Design Group are about looking at the total plan. And maybe you say, I can't save anymore, but then we realize that you had an extra $5,000 in taxes, that now we can turn that into money that you're savings, or an interest expenses you didn't realize that you could change, or an insurance cost that were unnecessary. All kinds of stuff that we can show you. There are some different ways and strategies to save money. But yeah, do you have to save something? Sure.
Right.
Sometimes people are like, ooh, that sounds great. I don't have to save anything. No, you're going to have to save something.
Right.
I mean, you've got to save somewhere between 10 and 20% of your gross income, or you're going to fail.
Or you're just going to work the rest of your life.
If you can.
If you can.
Or you're going to be dependent upon your kids.
Yep.
So you better hope that you're really nice to them.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get serious about this. 76% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Only 42% have even tried to calculate what they think they would need, and they probably did on some little online calculator and weren't even working with an advisor who could incorporate all the different things that go into it. All the ownings you have, including real estate. What if you were to sell your home and buy a different type of retirement home, or reverse mortgage, or you've got some cash flow coming, or pension plans, or Social Security? And what about inflation and the impact that would have? I mean, your investment accounts. What about 401k, and factoring in the taxes that you would have to pay on those? What if you had Roth in there? I mean, you start naming all this stuff, and you can't just use some little online calculator. It's not going to work.
No, it's crazy. It's like these next few stats were just, I mean, they're mind blowing, but I mean, we see these all the time. I mean, you got 29% of workers say they got less than $1,000 saved for retirement. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've gone in and done like 401ks for businesses. We put those things in place, and then we come back and talk to the business owner, and they're like, we got to get this participation up. But I mean, it's tough to do when you've got these people living paycheck to paycheck, or they're living outside their means. Every dollar counts. So you've got to figure out a way to save more money. Then you've got 56% of workers say the total value of investments is less than $25,000. That's a huge number. Then you got 50% of Americans have less than 3 months of expenses saved. I mean, that's one of the things we talk about all the time on the show is before you do any type of financial planning, you need to make sure you got your emergency reserves saved up. That's a huge part of a financial plan. And then you got 27% of Americans have no savings at all. And that goes back to the other stat you gave at the beginning of everybody just living paycheck to paycheck. So they've got nothing to save. It's crazy.
Why are we in this position?
It's the old phrase.
Yep.
I'll catch up later.
We all have said it. I don't have the money right now. I just got to take care of the kids. I'll catch up later. Right now, my parents need some help. I'll catch up later. It just gets harder and harder. One of the core principles that we believe in is what's called the hard easy. Okay, when you got two choices and you've got to do both of them, well, then always choose the harder choice first, because then it gets easy. And by the way, that's free advice for life. It's not just financial matters.
It's true. It's
free advice for life right there. You've got to always take the hard choice. So now is the time. Let me give you an example, okay? Let's say, and I know many of you listening to the show, you're already past this point, but you know people that are at this stage, so maybe you can help them, okay? But if I saved $100 just for, and these were monthly contributions that we're looking at. Is this a monthly, the chart? Yes. So if I saved $100 a month from age 23 to 33, and then you stopped, okay? By the time you got to age 65, that would have meant that you made $12,000 worth of contributions, and your account value, assuming an 8% rate of return, which is not a guarantee in any way, shape, or form, just putting a hypothetical in, would be almost $250,000, okay? So $100 a month, you got and you only did it for 10 years, you got 250,000. Or you started at age 35 and you saved the same 100 a month, but you did it for 30 years, so you saved 36,000. You'd only have about $175,000. So you've saved for 30 years instead of 10, and you're not even anywhere close. So you've got to get in your head, and I don't care if you're not 23, I don't care if you're 55 right now, it doesn't matter. Now is the time. Quit saying you're putting it off or you're waiting on the big bonus or this or that or whatever. You've got to start saving money, and you need to do it now, because the reality is, we talked about how much money do you need at retirement. Well, if you spend all that you have, well, then you're accustomed to that. And if you're accustomed to that, you have to have all of what you were making to retire, which requires a lot more money than getting in a good habit of saving 20% of your gross income. Well, then you would only need 80% of that income to equal what you're used to having to live. So you kind of see here, this is exponential. It's like a double whammy. And you've got to if you need help, get help. I mean, financial advisors are great. We can work with you to set the goal and then track to see if you're actually performing and doing the goal. So where's all the money go? Where's all the money go? We got a pretty cool chart from Consumer Expenditures where they get their data from the Department of Labor. And so it's got, we got housings.
It's always the big one.
That's the big one, 34%. So you can kind of, while you're listening, figure out if your housing costs run about 34% of your budget, with auto being 17%. See, what else do we have on here? It's kind of
food. I mean, none of these really shocked me when I look at it. As many financial plans that we do, and most people tend to give us their expenses. I mean, you've got the top three being housing, transportation, and then food. And then very close to food would be like any type of insurance item. So you've got your auto insurance, you pay for disability insurance, you might have life insurance. I mean, just all those things, homeowners insurance. I mean, those things all add up too. So
entertainment. That's the one. That's what I want to spend my $1 million
there you go.
on. Entertainment. I like entertainment. But I mean, just think about Starbucks. Okay. The average Starbucks customer, and this is from mainstreet.com, they visit almost 4 times a month. And the average customer ends up spending about $24 a month. So that's $280 just on something small. Okay, it's $280. Now, I'm not telling you not to go to Starbucks. Okay?
Probably worse than that, because I was just noticing that was actually in 2008. That was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the truth is, if that was the trend, and now they got you hooked at Starbucks, and you've been doing it another 8 years.
Right, you've drank the crap.
Yeah. So it's more than 3.7 times a month. It's probably like every day.
Right.
And just think about that. I mean, that's an interesting point. I mean, this is just 3.7 times per month. But, I mean, what if you are that person that goes every day to Starbucks? I mean, those things aren't cheap. I mean, you're dropping $5-6 a day at Starbucks. It's crazy. Multiply that times 365.
Yep.
That's a lot.
Yep. And then add the interest that you could be gaining on that money over time.
That's why I like my
There we
carriage.
go. So the reason people can't retire in America is because of Starbucks.
And if you want to become a millionaire, buy a Starbucks.
There you go. I like that. They don't franchise them. It's all corporate. It's all corporate.
That's true.
But you've got to, the bottom line is you've got to get rid of bad habits. You've got to get rid of mentalities. Thinking, I'll never be a millionaire, or I will be, it's just all of a sudden going to appear one day. Isn't going to work. I mean, it can be done, but it is going to have to take action on your part. So in the next segment, we're going to tell you the exact action that you need to take to make sure that you get your $1 million. It'll be nice and simple.
Yes. So before we take the break, we just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of our next coaching event that we've got coming up on Thursday, September 22nd at 6:30 in the evening. We'll be talking about the 7 deadly mistakes that you can take when you're investing your money. That will be at Perry's. So text the word daddy to 72727. Text the word daddy to 72727. That will give you the link to get registered for that event. You can also check us out on our Facebook page. That's Big Money Big Daddy. You can email us at bmbd@wealthdesigngroup.net. You can also call us at 713-826-0426. And if you're a successful business owner in the city of Houston, please give us a call if you'd like to be on our show.
Big Money Big Daddy.